Have you ever felt like you're down to your very last bit of hope, your last dollar, your last ounce of strength, when it feels like you've got nothing left to give? What do you do? Today, let's dive into a powerful story from the Bible that speaks directly to this feeling. The story of a widow whose small act of faith unlocked a miracle of abundance. Imagine a land gripped by a severe famine. The streams have dried up, the fields are barren, and food is incredibly scarce. In this desperate time, God sends the prophet Elijah to a town called Zarephath. There, he meets a widow gathering a few sticks. She's at the very end of her rope, preparing to make one final meager meal for herself and her son. Elijah approaches her and makes a bold request. First, he asks for a drink of water, which she was willing to give. But then he asks for something that seems almost impossible: a piece of bread. The widow's response is heartbreakingly honest. She tells him, "As surely as the Lord your God lives, I don't have any bread, only a handful of flour in a jar and a little olive oil in a jug. I am gathering a few sticks to take home and make a meal for myself and my son, that we may eat it and die." Can you feel the weight of her words? This wasn't just about being hungry. It was about complete and utter desperation. She had already accepted their fate. This was their last meal. But Elijah gives her a message of hope, a promise directly from God. He tells her not to be afraid. He instructs her to go home and make a small loaf of bread for him first, and then make something for herself and her son. Then comes the incredible promise, "For this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says: the jar of flour will not be used up, and the jug of oil will not run dry until the day the Lord sends rain on the land." Now, put yourself in her shoes. A stranger is asking you to give away the very last of your food based on a promise. It's a huge test of faith. She could have refused, clinging to the little she had. It would have been the logical, sensible thing to do. But she didn't. The Bible tells us that she went away and did as Elijah had told her. She chose obedience. She chose to trust God's promise, even when her circumstances screamed the opposite. She took her handful of flour and her little bit of oil and honored God first. And what happened next is a beautiful testament to God's faithfulness. Just as Elijah had promised, her small supply of flour and oil never ran out. Every day when she went to the jar, there was enough flour. Every day when she tipped the jug, there was enough oil, not just for a day or a week, but for the entire duration of the famine. God provided for her, her son, and for Elijah day after day, turning her little bit of nothing into more than enough. This story isn't just about a historical miracle. It's a powerful lesson for us today. It teaches us about the incredible power of faith and obedience, especially when we feel like we have nothing left. God isn't asking for our abundance. He's asking for our trust. He wants us to honor Him with the first fruits of what we have, no matter how small it seems. Maybe your jar of flour is your time, your energy, or your finances. You might feel like you barely have enough for yourself, let alone enough to give. But this story encourages us to trust that when we put God first, He will not only meet our needs, but will provide in ways we could never imagine. Her obedience in scarcity unlocked God's abundance. So, what is it that you're holding on to today? What is that last little bit that you're afraid to let go of? I want to encourage you to take a step of faith, just like the widow did. Trust God with it. Offer it to Him first. You might just be amazed to see how He can take your little and multiply it into something extraordinary. When we trust God with our scarcity, He blesses us with His limitless supply. Thank you so much for joining me today. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and share it with someone who might need to hear this message of hope. Don't forget to subscribe for more content that explores the incredible wisdom of the Bible. See you in the next video.